So I think that, even looking beyond COVID, there's a lot of just general anxiety about the way the workforce is working and how certain jobs are going to be disrupted by technology. And certification can kind of serve a sweet spot, right? Because it doesn't require you to take, a 4-year degree. They really do land you in good jobs and can help you to switch, upskill yourself, and continue living a good life and putting food on the table.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Oliver Whittlef, Director of Product Architecture at Xvoucher. How you doing today, Oliver?
I'm doing great, Andrew. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for spending some time with us here on Business Ninjas. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and about Xvoucher.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with Xvoucher. We are a financial technology company who operates in the learning industry. So we do voucher management, payment processing, and tax compliance. And just on that first one a little bit, voucher management. So people buy vouchers from us that allow learners to take exams. So if I want to certify my entire team in some sort of a technology, I can buy vouchers for my employees to take that test and then manage those vouchers and track certain outcomes through the Xvoucher platform. And then, like I said, we also do payment processing, tax compliance, and a slew of other financial services.
Excellent.
About myself.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I started working at Xvoucher as an intern during my undergrad. It's a classic summer internship. I began working there. Xvoucher uses technology that I had never touched in my life, so it was kind of slow getting started, but eventually I was able to get my feet under me and I think deliver a lot of value in that summer as an intern. And they ended up just keeping me around. And the rest is kind of history that I just kept on working during my undergrad. And then throughout my master's, I continued to work here. I've worn a ton of hats, right? I started as an intern and pretty quickly I was a software engineer, kind of climbed that ladder for a little while and became an architect. And now, like you said, I'm leading up product architecture at Xvoucher.
Nicely done. Nice trajectory, young man. And what verticals does Xvoucher service?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're generally selling vouchers to take exams in technology and also business management. So things like your financial certifications, your HR certifications, things along those lines. That's in general the largest verticals we service, but I would say anything in the learning industry having to do with learning and credentialing that operates within a highly regulated space is kind of our bread and butter. The regulatory is a big thing for us.
Okay. And when did Xvoucher start? What's the origin story of the company?
You'd have to quote, I believe the date is 2012, but I would have to bring up our site so don't quote me on that. Maybe later we can look that up. But let's say it started in 2012, and before there was Xvoucher, right? If you go to our site, you'll see that it's Xvoucher by Genuine Genius is kind of like a parent company, sort of like Alphabet and Google situation. And Genuine Genius was a consulting company. They're providing customized solutions. A lot of it was around voucher management for a number of different huge clients. They were managing all the training and certification programs for the Air Force at one time, and they got an opportunity to do a similar thing for the Pentagon. And as the story goes, they basically go in, they're doing this heavily customized implementation, or at least bidding on it, right? They're bidding on this heavily customized implementation. And I mean, long story short, lots of politics. They didn't end up getting the deal. Somebody else got their foot in the door and it went to somebody else. So our founders took a step back and he realized that, he'd done a ton of these implementations, and there are a bunch of things that are just kind of commonalities between all these different voucher management and other L&D implementations that he'd been doing. And he decided with his team at the time to create this generalized platform that would suit all their needs, and be sort of agnostic to the client.
I'm going to guess that considering the restrictions and hesitation to be flexible and or make changes quickly, maybe they dodged a bullet by not getting a government contract. Sure, I know there's stability in those contracts financially, but in terms of, this is the 21st century and you're at a digital platform, you got to be able to make changes quickly and be flexible and change with the market. And government contracts are not necessarily the place to do that. But kudos to the team for making the pivot and creating a niche in the business market. What makes you guys stand out from your competition?
So I think that the thing that makes us stand out from our competition is that, other companies do parts of what we do, but nobody else really bundles it together into one package that works end to end. And, unlike a lot of companies that are in the learning space, we really focus on the financial and compliance aspect.
Okay.
I will say that it's really hard to be tax compliant, especially globally tax compliant like we are, if you don't control distribution end to end. So, by controlling all that, by controlling end-to-end distribution, and focusing on the finance and regulatory aspects, we managed to differentiate ourselves from a lot of other customers or a lot of other companies in our space.
And when you say globally, what sort of markets are you guys working in at this point?
Globally. Our largest market is certainly still the Americas, but Asia Pacific and EMEA is growing really quickly. I mean, we're seeing a lot of uptake, especially some of like slightly more developing economies that just have a ton of talent, like for example, India or China, a ton of technology talent. We see a lot of uptake in interest in certifications coming from those types of areas. But I would say our largest market is still by far North America.
Kind of feeds into my next question. I typically ask what the COVID years have been like. Obviously, lots of challenges and opportunities. I would think that as people hit the reset button and look for different career paths, that you guys would be flooded with people looking to be certified in a new technology, new field. Has that been the case?
Yes, certainly there's an uptick in volume during the COVID years. And it's more of a general broad thing than just COVID, right? I mean, there's the great resignation that went with COVID, but there's a ton of uncertainty in certain fields around us. How long am I going to last? If I'm a long haul trucker, is my job going to get replaced in 10 years? And how can I upskill myself, or how can I put food on my table, right? So I think that, even looking beyond COVID, there's a lot of general anxiety about the way the workforce is working and how certain jobs are going to be disrupted by technology. And certification can kind of serve a sweet spot, right? Because it doesn't require you to take, a 4-year degree. I mean, some of these exams we sell, they're a couple $100, right? And the training we sell might be a little more expensive, but compared to a college degree, it's incredibly inexpensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they really do land you in good jobs and can help you to switch, upskill yourself, and continue living a good life and putting food on the table. So I think that at the end of the day, it's about, helping people, but certainly all that uncertainty around COVID helps in terms of our volume as well.
Excellent. And how does Xvoucher generate revenue?
So we resell learning products, right? Vouchers, chief among them. And then we also generate revenue through SaaS licensing.
Okay. So you're licensing to the corporations so that you can capture the data and track people's results and deal with it on the other end, but you're also B2C in terms of selling these tests to people looking to be accredited in new pathways. Gotcha. And what sort of companies do you work best with? Is there a size, an industry in particular?
Xvoucher is it's an ecosystem, and there's different personas that log in and interact. So kind of just going through the different personas, right? We have these standards bodies. We have standards bodies that come to Xvoucher to help us basically grow and scale their certification programs.
Okay.
So if you're a standards body, I would say we work really well with you, right? It's really, in my opinion, a no-brainer to at least get a demo from Xvoucher and understand what we do, right? And it falls down into a couple of buckets of kind of different core competencies and services. But some of the big ones, in my opinion, are, I mean, first of all, just in terms of scaling, and especially scaling globally, we have done a ton of legwork to open up different offices in different parts of the world and, be in tax compliance. We have a global tax engine that can calculate anywhere in the world. And just all that kind of, foundational stuff you have to do when you're trying to scale an enterprise to be global. You get that when you sell through Xvoucher. Another reason they might want to work with us is because of our reporting, right? A lot of these standards bodies have really complex channel relationships, right? I might have my academic channel where I'm selling to universities or schools and things, selling large private enterprises, a philanthropic channel, and the finances can look really different, but we can bring all that reporting up at the top level of the certification body, and they can view kind of the health of their certification just through a single pane of glass, right? It's all just right there. And it's all kind of percolating up from this very complicated financial ecosystem, which is going on below it. And the third thing I would say is just customer experience, right? Certification bodies customers are our customers because they're buying their vouchers through us. So when you buy from Xvoucher, it doesn't have to be this way, right? It doesn't have to be this way, but customers buying vouchers through Xvoucher get access to our voucher management platform for free. So if I am a certification body and I want to really grow my certification quickly, I want to give customers an experience that they love that's really convenient for them. This is a mature platform, right? It's been around for 10 years, give or take, and it's really feature rich. So giving access to that for free, just simply because you're buying, the certification body that you want works for Xvoucher, I think is also a big part of our value prop.
Excellent. Well, hey, you seem to be expanding on what's available to people and giving them an experience as opposed to just getting a single certification that they pay for and move on to the next step. That's quite a process. What value has content marketing played in the growth of your business?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that Xvoucher has been really innovative in our space, and content marketing has allowed us to kind of reinforce our role as thought leaders in the space, right? Another really important thing is, kind of building that community, right? People knowing who we are and us knowing who people are and starting those conversations around voucher management, but also some of these next generation functionalities that we're bringing along. So building community is a big one, but then I would always just take it back to, building up our reputation as a thought leader in the financial management, learning development space.
Well, you're speaking our language. We all know how important, the human connection is, especially now that we are all stuck in front of laptops remotely. It's important. People want to know who they're doing business with, and they want to know that you're an authority in your space. So it's important. All right, switch gears. What is something that you would like to be celebrating personally and professionally 1 year from now?
Personally and professionally. I'll start with the personal because that's a little bit easier. I just broke my leg skiing.
No.
And Yeah, it is what it is. You know, it was bound to happen. I'm a big skier, but I got the prognosis from the doctor that I'm not going to be able to ski again this year. So
Oh,
uh in January of 2024, I want to be celebrating some après ski out somewhere. And really putting all the new synthetic, all the new you know, replaced fake parts of my ankle to some
oh,
good use,
oh no.
putting them through their paces.
Oh, so you did a
But
pretty good job on yourself.
yeah, I had a pretty gnarly fall, but so that's in a year. Hopefully, I'm on a slope celebrating that. Um, in terms of Xvoucher, um, I think there's kind of two answers, right? There's the kind of businessy answer, the business target answer, and there's kind of the identity answer. Who are you as a company?
Mhm.
So from just a business growth standpoint, right? Right now we work with just a little bit over 20,000 different companies who buy vouchers from us to certify their employees. Um, would love to see that number hit 30,
Sure.
right? We've helped well over 1.5 million different learners to pursue a certification. Um, would love to would love to break 2 billion. So those are the, you know, the kind of business target goals. I think there's kind of the who we are type of goal too. You know, at the end of the day, it really is about helping people out. I talked about kind of the digital displacement, the great resignation. What am I going to do next? And that the special place that certification holds in that. And the best, you know, for those companies that are looking at reskilling, you know, upskilling, and basically keeping their workers and teaching them to continue to be relevant through the 21st century. We just want to keep helping more companies do that and keep helping people keep relevant, you know, relevant skills, keep helping people put food on the table and feel really secure in their job and the skills that they bring. And I think that certification is a really competitive and interesting way to do that, right? It's a low barrier to entry and it's very accessible.
Hey,
So
those
we
are
just
great.
want to keep on providing that.
Hey, those are great goals. If you hit your business marks, that means you're helping more people sustain themselves and make changes in their life to again put food on the table. And these days with the price of eggs, that is no joke. So
Yes. Yeah.
hey, please tell everyone what your URL is, where they can find Xvoucher, and what social media channels they can find you on as well.
Yes. It is Xvoucher, spelled Xvoucher, Xvoucher. And you can find us at info.xvoucher.com.
Okay.
We are also on LinkedIn.
Okay. Oliver Whittlef, Director of Product Architecture at Xvoucher. Thank you for spending some time with us here today. Appreciate it. All the best to you and yours. And again, there's that cycle of the better you do, the more people you're helping to do well in their lives. So I wish you all the best.
I really appreciate it, Andrew. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you for having me on here.